Can you tell us about Wildcat, your character, and what drew you to this project?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Wildcat is I would call it, I guess, a dramatic thriller. It has, the heartbeat, kind of the thing that keeps it moving the whole time, are these set of circumstances of basically a soldier named Luke, just kismet, I guess, that it's also my name, and a diplomat named Kat, who basically the movie starts and they've been captured by, an unacknowledged extremist group in the Middle East. And they were, in a convoy, and they were headed to wherever, and they were basically attacked and captured. And so that's where it starts. And you meet them once they've been brought into their cell, basically. And so the sequence of events is them figuring out where they are, who took them, and how they're going to get out. And that is kind of what drives the story forward. But what I thought was so really special about this project was Jonathan Stokes, the writer-director, the way he went about telling the story. It's so grounded in humanity and a fair story. And it's, I find myself saying this a lot, but it's so rooted in the gray area that I think that it's able to do what true art is supposed to do, which is, allow the audience to be subjective and to take liberties and to apply it to themselves. And that's really what drew it to me. As I got to the end of the script and it impacted me. I right off the page, I was, I got to the end and I needed an exhale. I needed to really think and take one of these, like, whoa, like that was intense. And so yeah, it was an actor's dream. Honestly, I got to the end and I was like, wow, this is something that, once in a lifetime kind of story.
And you've worked on projects of all sizes. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you as an actor?
Yeah, well, it's nothing against, obviously the big machines have their place, and they are the backbone of the film industry. That's where the money is made. But independence allows for, true, unadulterated expression. And it's not, not as much about what's going to sell or what's going to go over really well. And it's much more about what impacts the filmmaker in a really powerful way. And I think that is really important. And it has to have its place, because, movies are commercialized, and that's great, but we also need movies that are art and that are, takes its liberties, and it isn't always out there to please everyone, and is more out there to challenge people and force them out of their box and make them think and make them feel. And I think that's, what Wildcat does really well is, Jonathan was so good at collaborating and hearing people's opinions and dialoguing about the material while still maintaining his vision. And it was a beautiful process. So yeah, I love indies. I've done a handful, and honestly trying to produce some indies right now. Mm-hmm. And so I love that side of film so much, just because I think that is what drives me, is the art of it, the impact that can make.
Like you were saying earlier, this film is an intense ride from start to finish. As an actor, how did you mentally prepare to play a character who's in these dire situations?
Yeah. Well, I have very minimal grasp on what a soldier goes through, and what, they even go through boot camp. Like, I've done a couple of boot camps getting ready for, other military roles I've played where it's been more like the combat. But even then, it's such a small, just feeling of what the actual experience is. And so I wanted to find the humanity in the character. And one thing that I found was this line that he has that kind of became my mantra. I wrote across the front of the script, and I would just kind of repeat it to myself, which was, I don't want to die for nothing. And that to me was something that was, him bearing his soul in that moment of, why is he doing this? I guess I was confused by, when getting ready, like, what is the distinction between people who can sustain torture and endure torture, and people who can't, like they've had the same training, but like, what is that? And, I came to the conclusion that it had to be something outside of them. It's, if you rely solely upon yourself and your own strength, you're not enough. But if you have something outside that's motivating, then you are, it's something that's larger than you. And I felt that for him, that motivation was the loyalty to his comrades and his friends, and even his family back home at times, and people that he had gone to fight for. And so that was, as far as like a character thing that tied us together, that was really what I reverted back to always. But as far as like the physical abuse and stuff, I encourage the other actors to be rough. Like I was going to be all right. I wasn't getting stabbed and I wasn't getting shot. And so that was good enough, drag me around. That's cool. I also cut back on my diet a bunch. I wanted to feel weak and tired and hungry. And I felt like that lended itself nicely to the piece as well. So yeah, that's just, and I kind of just try to keep myself in a very tunnel vision and like focused place.
You and Georgina give incredible performances throughout the film. What was that collaboration like? And how did you each elevate each other to get the performance out of each other that we see on screen?
Yeah, it was awesome. This was such a collaborative experience. And, we had our, which I think this really helped, which we had our rehearsals ahead of time where, her and I and the director would talk about the scenes. We'd read through them, and obviously they're very intense, so we wouldn't go all the way. Like, we knew on the day that the emotion could come, but we needed to be connected sitting on the floor just talking about it, and so that allowed for us to all get on the same page ahead of time and talk about any issues in a very safe environment, and one that wasn't, under any kind of time constraints. And so that helped with, obviously the preparation, because then we got to get on set and just let loose and experiment with the intricacies and all the skeleton was there. We were able to fill in the in-between, and we both came from a place of it can be a slippery slope for some actors who get too worried about their performance. The performance comes from the giving, and I think that we both came from that same mindset of I'm going to give 110%, whether I'm on screen or off screen, and you do the same, and this shit's going to be great. And we did. And, whether it was her close up or my close up, we were both in it. And I think that really made the difference.
There's so many important themes within the film about resilience and self-discovery. Was there one in particular that hit home for you?
Yeah, for sure. The character of Abu Khalid is one that is so complex to me, that it's cool because it does live in such a state of balance between these two. It's supposedly, opposing forces of Luke and Abu, but it's so not depicted that way. And well, on the topic of courage, I think that's a very courageous thing to do as a filmmaker for Jonathan. But that character is one that is just wrought with, complexity. And it's a really incredible character that he created, that is not all bad. And, it starts as a character who wants a family and love and life, and ultimately grows to what we see on the screen, which is, a product of hate and that's cool. Sorry, off topic. But yes, no, the theme of courage is very prominent. I'm not sure. I've seen this final cut once, and I can't remember if this made it into the film. I think it did in a subtle way, but there was a theme of Kat's character being sexually assaulted at some point throughout her adolescence, and that her assaulter resembled Luke, and the arc that takes from her being very resistant and fearful, I guess, of anything involving this relationship, growing to the courage of stepping out and trusting while staying guarded, but stepping out for growth and ultimately reaping reward, I guess, in that area of connection was a cool theme to me as well.
And then final question for you. In addition to Wildcat, you have a couple of other projects that you're working on at the moment. Are there any that you can chat about? Anything on the producing side?
Yeah. We have one that myself and my girlfriend actually produced together, and we're in it. So that's going through. It's like we made it over the pandemic with like no money. We did it for fun. It's a thriller that's like over Zoom. And it's a fun one. It's experimental and so yeah, that one we're in the editing process right now, and then we've got a couple others that are being funded right now, and one that we're out to a lead, so we'll see how that goes. But we also have a short. I directed a short this year that's going out to festivals that she was a producer on with me, and so hopefully that gets in, because that'd be awesome. And then just been writing a ton, so shopping that around, and auditions and production are picking back up. So hopefully now that we're through the thick of the pandemic, it'll really open back up again.